Good evening, everyone. Good evening and welcome to meeting number 2 of the Southeast Area Elementary Boundary Study. I'd like to invite our committee members to take a moment. Please take your seats so that we can begin the evening. Thank you all for joining us this evening here at the Middle River Middle School cafeteria. Welcome to all joining us online. Welcome to all our observers, and welcome to our offices folks representing our offices this evening. My name is Chris Bercato. I'm with the Baltimore County Public Schools Office of Strategic Planning. We help administrate the boundary study process. Moment of words about safety. Please take a moment to notice the exit signs in the room. In the event of an emergency that we would have to evacuate, our easiest exits are through this door out to the parking lot, or there is a door on the other side of the cafeteria out to the front and to the parking lot. Well, we hope that everyone has taken a moment to sign in. I believe we have observers on the pink sheets and green sheets for committee members. If in the event that we did have to evacuate, those are important for accountability so that we can make sure that everyone has safely evacuated in the event of an emergency. We do have some staff members here that are available to assist with any questions or problems that you may have tonight. Our strategic planning staff members are wearing green lanyards, and we will be around throughout the evening to answer any of your questions. Meeting materials from tonight and from the previous meeting are available at our website at www.bcps.org. If you follow to the bottom of the page, there's a link to boundary studies, and there's a link to this Southeast Area Elementary Boundary Study Committee website. We have received some public comments from members of the public, and we did start documenting those. Our first log of comments, so those are available at the bottom of the page of the website, and we do encourage our committee members to visit that website and take a look and review those comments periodically. We do remind everyone that we are live streaming tonight thanks to our friends at BCPS-TV. It's very important, especially for our viewers at home. If you have a question, committee members, or would like to make a comment throughout the evening, please raise your hand. One of us will be around with a microphone to make sure that we capture your voice for audio. And I'd also like to take a moment. Thank you, observers, for joining us this evening. We do have some protocols available on the table. We invite you to please familiarize yourself with those protocols. We ask that you please respect the committee and its workspace here this evening and not engage, question, or approach committee members. We do have restrooms available out the hall to the left and around the corner. Please do not proceed into other areas of the building where we have staff cleaning this evening. We also have Senor Pedro here this evening. Should anyone require Spanish translation services, thank you for joining us, sir. Muchas gracias. And with that, I'm going to give it over to Ms. Melissa Appler. It's right here on the table. There you go.
So good evening. My name is Melissa Appler again with Strategic Planning. I want to thank everyone again for coming out to meeting 2 and to our BCPS offices that are here to support this process. Tonight's agenda, we're going to go a little bit over some of the questions and new information that you got in your packets tonight. Some questions that we received at the last meeting, we'll respond to those and give you some answers on those. And then we have 5 new draft options for you to look at tonight. So once we do that, we'll break into small groups to evaluate those options, take some time to dig in deep and look at those. Then you'll have a short report out on that. And then at the end of the evening, we're going to have an opportunity where you can decide as a committee whether you're ready to vote on options to send to the public information session, or if you feel you need more time or additional options to look at, we can have another meeting and come back again, and then at the next meeting we would vote on which options to take to the public information session. So I went over that just a little bit already. So we're here at meeting 2. And again, at the end of this meeting, we'll either go to the public information session, which is on October 22nd, or we'll have our third meeting, which will be October 8th. For some reason it skipped. Okay. All right. So just to reiterate our boundary study objectives, the objective of this boundary study is to balance enrollment among the participating schools. Eliminate the satellite areas that are currently in the Chase Elementary School boundary. We have an Oliver Beach satellite and a Seneca satellite that are non-contiguous to the normal boundaries, and to accommodate early childhood or special education programming. So meeting one follow-ups. There was some questions from the committee about residential development. This information is actually in your meeting one report packet on page 9, but this map shows the current approved developments. We get this information from Baltimore County Planning, and these are the current approved residential developments within this study area. So there's the Greenlee development, which is only a small portion of the Greenlee development in the Chase Elementary School boundary. And then there's some smaller developments down in Seneca. These, the one for Chase, the student yield on that is about 11 elementary school students coming from that portion of the development. And for Seneca, they're 1 and 2 houses, so their estimate is about 1 elementary school student coming from that development. Yes. In meeting one, can you double check that page, Mike?
Sure. Come back here a little bit.
This is page 9.
That's the presentation, but
Okay. It's in the report, Chris. Okay, so. Okay. So another question that we had from meeting one was about the allocation of staff. And when a boundary study takes effect, we have more kids going to different schools and what happens with staffing. So when that happens, once the board approves a new boundary, the new boundaries are provided to our consultant that does enrollment projections, and the enrollment projections are reallocated based on the staffing. So then those new enrollment projections are given to our Division of Human Resources for staffing, and they reallocate based on those new numbers and the new staffing to ensure that no matter what school students are at, their staffing needs will be met, whether it's for special education or multilingual learners or by grade. Also, from meeting one, we had some questions about whether some students can remain at their home schools if they're a 4th or 5th grader. So under policy and rule 5140 on special permission, any student that's a 4th or 5th grade, so their terminal grade year, may choose, if they go through and complete the forms for this process, can stay at their current school. And their siblings can also stay there if their siblings are, a K or a 1 or 2. They do not get transportation though. So if you do choose to stay at your home school, there is no transportation provided for special permission. During your meeting one small group feedback, so we heard a few things from you. On meeting one, we had options 1 and options 2, and we heard some feedback, primarily around neighborhood continuity and keeping certain neighborhoods together. So, and I'm going to just refer to these as the planning blocks. So there was planning block 113 and 309, keeping those together. Currently they're split between Seneca and Chase, but there was a desire to keep those communities together. Planning block 117 and 118, keeping those together. And you can see, like, in the parentheses, we've noted like different options that already accomplish these things. And then also there was a request for, in option 2, moving planning block 105 and 129, which were in Chase, to Oliver Beach as part of that option 2. And then there were also a few comments about, while they're not currently approved residential developments, there was some concerns over different areas that might down the road be developed within the Chase boundary. So tonight we have 5 new draft options for you to look at that address all of your community feedback. So all these options were kind of built from the existing option 1 and option 2 to address the feedback that we heard from you. These options are available within your handouts tonight. You have the plot maps on your table that show these new maps, and for anyone at home or that wants to view later or share with your friends, there's an interactive map online that also has all of these options on it that you can zoom into neighborhoods and things like that and turn them on and off. All the tables, the demographic tables and information on race, ethnicity, multilingual learners, economically disadvantaged. For each of these options, we're not going to go over each of those for every option since there's 5 options, but all of that information is in your report handout for this evening. So when you break into small groups, you can refer to that for that information. All right, so this is just a review of draft option 1 from last meeting. We can see here that 164 students were impacted by this. This one already kept planning block 113 and 309 together. And planning block 105 and 129 were already in Oliver Beach. So the things that this one did not do was keeping 117 and 118, which are kind of right around here, that did not keep those together. So what we did is we created option 1A. So in option 1A, what this does is it moves planning block 118 to Chase Elementary School to keep 118 and 117 together. The only other change, so you'll see in these slides that all the change areas that are progressive are highlighted in orange. So, and then the only other thing we did in this option was to move this area that folks were talking about for future development. We moved that into whatever school had a lower utilization and more area to expand. So in this option, it was moved to Oliver Beach Elementary School. Now I want to note that in this option, Chase Elementary School is at 100% utilization. So to give you another option that just looks at utilization a little bit differently, we took option 1A again, and we moved a few different planning blocks to just show you a different way of looking at this, where in this option, Seneca Elementary School is left at 100% utilization. So it still addresses all of the feedback that we heard from you, keeping those different communities together, but it moves these planning blocks 119, 120, 122 to Chase Elementary School, so this area right over here, and then swaps and puts this planning block 116 into Seneca. So it's just a different way of looking at those options and the resulting utilization. This is a review of option 2 from last meeting. This option impacted 121 students. The only thing that, out of your feedback, this option kept 117 and 118 together. So it did not keep those 2 areas, planning block 309 and I think it's 113 together, and it didn't address this area up here in Oliver Beach either. So we created, again, an option that did exactly that, which is 2A, and you can see those change areas right here. Now this option, once you moved those planning blocks into Oliver Beach, so let me back up 1 minute. So on option 2, the one thing that it didn't do, the main thing was 113 and 309 together. So there's 2 different ways to accomplish this. Either 113 and 309 can go to Chase, or 113 and 309 can go to Oliver Beach. So in this option 2A, 113 and 309 go to Oliver Beach. So, and you can see the resulting utilization. The resulting utilization is Oliver Beach is at 113% with just making that one change, and Chase is at 76% utilization. So that's not really balancing enrollment, so we created another option off of this to try to balance that enrollment. And in this option, we balance the enrollment by taking this area right up here of planning blocks 103, 104, and 105 and move that back into Chase Elementary School. This area is currently zoned for Chase Elementary School, so your impacted students is 138. And the utilization is 99% at Oliver Beach, 88% at Chase, and 88% at Seneca. So this balances that enrollment out where no school is over capacity. The other option I was talking about was where when we are looking at moving planning block 113 and 309 and keeping them together. So this takes it the other way. In this option, they go to Chase together. So, and all the other areas are already accomplished. And this leaves Chase at 101% utilization. So just simply moving those 2 planning blocks, keeping them together into the other school. So I know we've thrown a lot of options at you and a lot of data and information. So Mike is now going to go over an exercise that you can conduct. We're going to go into small groups that you can look at together and really dive into this information. We'll have staff that can come around and also help answer any question you have, because we know we've thrown a lot at you very quickly.
All right, good evening, everybody. So just as a reminder, from last time, you guys are all experts at this. Now even better as we're doing it this time, so hopefully you kind of got a handle on this. Just a reminder, as you review these different options, you've got a number of different pieces of information to use. You've got the maps. Just a reminder, just a thing that you can do. You have that bold black line that shows you the existing boundaries, and so when you see that, the color that extends over that shows you those change areas that you can review. And then with the different iterations tonight, something that may be helpful is to put like the A's together and the B's together, so that'll be easier to see those slight differences that Melissa went through, as opposed to trying to look each of them kind of on their own. Look at the data tables, both the utilization numbers that we had, as well as any of the demographic information, to see how those different iterations affect those things. And then also remember the considerations we went through last time, just looking at, okay, how does this option do at these various considerations we talked about? Again, we've got the markers to be able to mark up any of the maps, post-it notes to make any notes about anything. So feel free, if there's ways we can still improve these, we'd like to hear that. Just note, there's only so many ways you can change up some of these things. So if you have an idea, there's a chance it may actually already exist in one of the other options. So just kind of keep an eye out for that. And then we also have the parking lot sheets for any other questions that you may have that don't apply to any of these. So at your tables, we've got these handouts that look like this. You guys can use, I'll show you this. So you can use these either by yourselves or in your small groups to help kind of go through these. So across the first column there, it's got the different considerations that we identified at the last meeting, and then going across, you have each of the options. Now you can use this however you see fit. You don't need to necessarily feel like you got to fill in every dot, every cell in this thing, just to kind of help you to start thinking about how you can kind of rank some of these considerations against the draft options that have been prepared. And then as you're going through this, if you notice that there's deficiencies in all of them or in one of them, if there's ways you can improve that, we'd be interested in hearing that. So we'll go ahead and let you get going on that. And then so we'll use this exercise to kind of think through these. And then as you get working through it, these are some of the things we want you to think about in your small groups that you can share out with us. Are there any options you prefer more than others? Any additional variations you'd like to see? If there are variations, we want to get any planning blocks you want to change, and then we'll talk about if we're ready to move on to nomination. Chris, we got a question in the back before we break up.
Hi, we have a couple questions before we break up.
Sure.
One of them is, if the planning is being done, when would that be adopted? Like, when would that pass? What's the date?
Yeah, so your recommendation we'll do here. We'll do that in November, December. It'll go to the board then beginning in February for the recommendation. They'll have a public hearing at the end of February, and then they'll have their decision in March.
Because typically staffing comes out the end of January, early February, principals, is that correct?
Yeah, but at our school, we would have to have it later, because obviously we're going to have more kids.
Well, that's what I was wondering, how that's going to
So-
impact, because if teachers, because
So
we
we
have to
work-
put in whether or not we want to transfer,
We
or if we
work
plan
with
to
staffing
stay.
on that, and staffing works with the staff at each individual school on that as well.
I'm talking about for other teachers. For example, I don't know if Seneca and Chase will have to hire many new teachers, but we're going to be
Okay.
almost doubling our size.
And the Division of Human Resources will work with staff. They'll have meetings with them. They'll talk about all the opportunities and things and the reallocation of the staffing. So like if one of the schools goes down and another school goes up, Division of Human Resources will meet and talk to that staffing and give them and talk to them about that.
So I'm just saying, anybody in Baltimore County, would they be made aware that we'd be having openings so that they would know if they wanted to put in for a transfer?
Yeah, Division of Human Resources handles all that.
And then as far as like the resources, if we're doubling our size and things, just to
Yes, so
clarify, we would not get the resources this coming school year. We would be one full year behind because
As far
the
as
numbers.
staffing goes, you will get your staffing will be reallocated and you will get your appropriate staffing the year that this is.
I'm talking about if we
Doesn't it?
become, what is that called, a community school or a Title
So
I
in
school?
any community schools and Title I, it's always about the year ahead. So even if like a school today was designated, met the criteria now for a Title I school, they would not receive the resources and the staffing till the following year because that is the way the funding works from the federal government. So they wouldn't get we can talk about this more if you want offline, and I can maybe get somebody from Title I to answer some of your questions, if you have additional questions about how that works.
Well, I just wasn't sure, like, because, I mean, we don't know for sure how that's going to change things. Like, if we were to take certain communities, is it all going to
Well, the
impact or not?
economically disadvantaged statistics that are in there can give you an idea of that, but the percentages change. My understanding is the percentages change each year as well. Again, I can get additional, if you write down some of your questions specific to Title I on the parking lot sheets, I can get Title I to answer those questions for you.
Oh, so even if this is planned way in ahead of time, we still would be a year behind?
Yeah, all the schools are usually, so if you come in, because they're based on 9/30 and October enrollment figures there's a whole formula, and then they have to evaluate the percentages, and then the funding that's available and coming in, and then principals probably know better when that, it comes out.
Before they give you the funding. So they
Yeah.
can't say, well, we think they're gonna be a community school, so let's just give them the money. Because then if you're not, you know what I mean, then they can't do that. So what they normally look at is by the end of September, they look at your staffing, and they look at the percentage of, economically disadvantaged. And depending on that, they would make the decision for the next year, whether you would be a community school, which I think is like 55% economically disadvantaged, or Title I. But like she said, Title I, the percentages change each year. It's
Okay.
not like, oh, it's 70% every single year, this is the cutoff. It changes based on a lot of different factors.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess my last question would be then,
Thank
is
you.
the resources for the children. So does that mean that they would lack those, whether it be any sort of therapies, any sort of AAs?
Special ed.
Nothing changes with special
Okay.
education. They reallocate the staffing, multilingual learners,
Okay.
they'll reallocate their staffing. So they all get their new projections. They'll actually look at the students that are moving. They get all of that as special ed's here if they, but
Yes.
they get all of the information on each individual child. They'll look at that information and then they'll reallocate the resources and the needs. So every student will still have what they need.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect.
Community school, you do get funding, but it wouldn't be as far as special ed staffing or, ESOL. You know
Yeah.
what I mean, that's, we get that through the county. They look at our, upcoming numbers and projections. That would not be a
Perfect. I just want to make sure that everybody's needs are met.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay.
But if you do have additional questions, write them down and I can work on getting an answer for you.
Thank you so much.
So, any additional questions?
You get me? All right, guys, if you want to start wrapping up, we'll get on with the rest of this. So we try to be fluid as we do these things. And so, yeah, yep, no, I think for the size of the group, I think it's worked out well. So if you guys want to get your seats, just so we'll do a nomination exercise thing here in just a minute. But before we roll to that, is there anything anyone wants to share out for the greater good of anybody before we roll to that? I think you guys did a pretty good job communicating with each other. So here's what we're going to do. So to narrow down the number of options to bring to the public information session, we're going to ask you guys to nominate one or more options to be voted upon. You can also make a nomination with changes for any of the things we've talked about tonight. Principals are not voting members, but they can engage in the conversations. As far as like how many to do, so this is, yeah. So we'll first start off with a vote as far as like if you feel comfortable nominating stuff tonight, or we need to come back again. But first, just some guidance as far as we've done these in the past. So it's often helpful to have some variety in the options you present to the public, so that you don't have just one because it kind of works better that way. And often if there's multiple ones that have some variety to them, if a particular community doesn't like one, they may like another one. So we like to have something that people can like instead of just having lots of things they don't like or one thing they don't like. So as you're being thoughtful about what you may want to nominate, think about kind of some variety in those. And it's helpful to kind of test some of our assumptions with the public. So we often think we know what's best, or we think we know what people will like. But it's often helpful to get feedback through the survey and the public information session that, yes, we were on the right track on that, or no, we weren't, and we need to do something different. And so I guess with that, before we get rolling too far, everyone with me so far with what we're doing and things? Chris has the microphone. So we want to go ahead and let you guys then, so we'll go, if anyone, you can try to be fairly flexible with this, not too hard and fast with rules. So if any of you want to nominate multiple ones, that's cool. If you only want one or whatever else, we'll just kind of open it up for anyone to make nominations. As we do nominations, we'll put them up here so we kind of keep track of what we're doing, and then we'll kind of take a break for just a second to kind of catch our breath and make sure everyone's following what we're doing before we get to actually voting on them. So with that, anyone want to go ahead and start off any nominations for tonight? We got there in the back.
I'd like to nominate draft option 2A1.
Super. All right, do we have one of those, Chris, we can throw
Let's get
up?
a copy of that. 2A1. Okay, we'll put this up front.
Here you go, Chris. All right, anybody else?
So, there we go.
I'd like to nominate option 1AV2. We kind of made a little revision there.
Okay, so let's make a note of what that is. So this is 1A version 2, and the difference between 1A is that planning block 118 is going to Seneca instead of Chase as it shows there, right?
No, this would be planning block 109 would go to Oliver Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 0. But we were looking at the long game, if there's any development in that area.
This is actually 1 with revisions, not 1A.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So it's
So that's option 1.
all right, and let me write that on that real quick, just so I got. So that's 109. We have a pen. Good for a pen.
It's
There we go.
option 1 with planning blocks
Thank you.
108, 109, 110, and 111 from Chase to Oliver. Is that the?
Yes.
Yes. And those are all zero count planning blocks, so that would not change any of the utilizations or student demographics.
Okay, very good. So we got 2. Any other ones? Anyone who wants to nominate? This is good. Some good variety here. Did we capture the other one that you guys were talking about? That is that. Okay, super. Okay, super. No, I just wanted to make sure that I was capturing it.
Well, that moved planning block 118, so that was different. But gotcha. Accomplished something different.
Gets confusing, all these different permutations of stuff. All right. Anyone else have any other ones? Any long lost loves you made along the way that you want to disregard along the way? All right. So let's just take a second so I can get set up on this. If you want to come up and take a look at this, you can. Otherwise, does everyone have an ActiveVote device except our principals? No, principals don't get them. That was intentional, Jason. So that was a good test, though. That was a good test. Yep. Oh, okay, not number 8. Okay. Okay, so I'll explain how we'll do this. So I think we're like the last organization in the system that uses these ActiveVotes, but we really like them. We really like them, and they'll take them from my cold dead hands whenever if we ever gotta leave this. So we'll put each of these up for a vote, and then you can vote for multiple ones. It won't be like a ballot where you pick your favorite one. So as long as we get half of the votes, so we've got 8 folks here tonight, as long as we get 5 people that vote that they want to take it to the public information session, we'll roll with it. And you can vote for as many as you want. And then if any of the ones that weren't nominated, we can still use those for other things we need to in the future. But these are the ones we'll take to the public to kind of get their feedback on. So just give me 1 second to get the voting set up. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, no, you are going to get a microphone like everyone else. And just as another comment, all the options that we go through are kept in record on the website. So the board, for example, when they're making their decision, have at their disposal all the information and all the scenarios that have and will be discussed. So that breadth of information is available on record.
I just wanted to clarify, if we have to take more than one option to the public, correct?
You don't have to do anything. It'd be good if you took more than one, just to get multiple perspectives on things, though it doesn't look like there's one recommendation at this point. At least that's been our experience. But if you decide it's your committee, your party, whatever you want to do. So if you just only take one, we're not going to stop you. We're not going to keep you here tonight until you give us more options to take.
Well, I just wanted to clarify, if we had to take more than one and 2 of them were recommended, can we just say those 2 would go to the public and then the public would get to see both of those options?
I mean, we can do lots. This is just kind of how we like to do things. If you don't mind just rolling through this. This just kind of helps us to get consensus what we're doing real quick.
But we don't have to vote for both of them. We can just choose one.
You could. Yeah, go ahead.
So what will happen is that we will ask, he will put up a slide and say, do you want to take this revised option? We're calling it 1A, and he's going to come up with a name with it. All right. Do you want to take this? And then everybody will vote yes or no. If it receives 50%, it goes to the public. So you can just get additional feedback and comments from the public on how they feel about this option. Then we'll ask the same question about this one. And if he gets 50% of the vote that says, yes, take it to the public information session, we'll take that one. And really, it's just an opportunity so you can get additional feedback from the community on how they're feeling about these options and what kind of feedback they may give, because they may give something that we don't know about. And it's just additional feedback. So by taking them, you're just getting additional feedback from the community. But you'll get the vote. You can take 2. If one of them doesn't get 50%, it won't go. So I hope that helps answer the question. Yeah, so I mean, and it's not the purpose of so there'll be a survey that gets kicked off while he's setting up the ActiveVote. There'll be a survey that also gets kicked off that evening that folks will be able to also see these that weren't available to attend the public information session. And really that information all the survey results will come to you as well, so you have that feedback. And it's not meant to be, the purpose of the survey is not meant to be a popular vote. So it's not, oh, well, this one got the most votes, so we have to pay. It's just additional feedback for you. So it's not like a popular vote on the survey.
All right, so here we go. Oh, how
You
come
need to
that?
send to the TV screen, please.
Never works when you want it to. Hey, Pat. Not sure why this went away. Okay, so as I get up here, we'll just kind of keep rolling. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to see if everyone is comfortable taking this tonight. So we just kind of like to do this as a consensus, just so we get everyone, that we don't miss something, that people want to do it. Well, we can.
Can you go back to the PowerPoint for a second, Mike, just to make sure that
Yep.
we're...
All right. Well, we can. So, are you guys gonna? We can tell you as we do this. All right. So. Oh, something just happened.
Switching.
Well. Forget it. Okay, we're going to do this on the fly. Okay, we like the active votes, but we're just going to do this so we can want to get you guys home. And this one's fairly simple. So raise of hands. Is everyone good with taking this or to vote tonight to go to the public information session? Oh.
Yeah, you can still run the active vote on the computer.
Okay.
That way we have record of the vote.
Okay.
No input. Still saying no input.
We said number 8.
Set to HDMI.
Okay, so go ahead. So on your devices, if you're good to go tonight, press button A. If you're not good to go, press button B. And I can tell you when your vote's been recorded or not. Okay.
Quickly, before we
Yeah.
go for a vote, can we justify the reasons why these two were chosen to
Of course.
begin with?
Yeah, feel free.
Maybe a little bit of the alterations that were made and a little piece about the diversity
Yeah.
for each one.
Please.
I would prefer 2A1 just because the diversity piece, if you look at the sheet with all of the different options on it, the spread for diversity is more equal and balanced than any of the other options in both terms of ethnical diversity as well as economic diversity. So, and then that first option, the only edit that was really made was including the top undeveloped portion of Chase, including it over in Oliver Beach, and splitting the community of, I believe it's Peppermint Woods over there, right? From the original option? No, that is option 1. Okay. So the only difference was that piece moved up. And if you look at that option on the diversity sheet, just the diversity percentages seem very skewed and off.
Okay.
That's the only thing I
No.
wanted to point out.
Thank you.
But the only thing wasn't just to include those parts that he shaded in, whereas Tara and Jason had both said, with that option on the left, keeping the two together allowed for students to be able to walk to Chase keeping that community, whereas if they missed the bus or some other reason, they could not get to Seneca or Oliver Beach safely. So they could walk there, is what Tara and Jason had said.
Sorry. So I just wanted to also point out that the colored area that we added, that is part of the quarry. However, that can still be developed. So that gives room, if there are more neighborhoods built, then they can come to Oliver Beach, and we do have some opening for them rather than trying to shove them somewhere else and then another school be overfilled again.
Just to, debate you on that, with the zeros, to me is like a non-factor. There is a possibility that something could get built there, but that could be years down the road, if at all possible, to even build anything in there. So I wouldn't put that at a high priority on my scale anyway, but should we sit together?
Right, just right next to me. So with that, I hate that I have to keep holding this thing. So with that, the possibilities there, and one of the things that I think we had all agreed on was longevity of being able to not have to do this every 2 to 3 years. And also, it puts us at 2A1, it puts Oliver Beach at a 99% capacity, and it takes the other 2 schools down to 88. So I think there's a way to even it out slightly better. So Oliver Beach isn't so full, because if there is another neighborhood added, or, as time moves on, people have more babies, then we'll end up being overfilled. And with being overfilled, then we're going to have to do this again, and some people are going to have to go to Chase, Seneca. We don't want to have to do a satellite school again, from what I'm understanding. So I just don't, in my opinion, everybody has their own, I don't think 2A1 is actually a good solution to our issues.
Gotcha. Okay. Just one more rebuttal. Oliver Beach has never been even close to at capacity, and the other schools have been at, well, maybe in 92, but like in the past 10 years, maybe? Okay. I'm just saying that being at a high capacity doesn't always have to be like a bad thing. Adding diversity to your school can actually be a really good thing for the school and the community. So
Totally understand that. But we have, we have been at capacity more than once. I went to school there, I ended up working there, I did an internship there, and now my children go there. So we have been at capacity multiple times, years in a row. So we know what it's like. It's not
After this.
taboo for us. We get that. But adding more families as time moves on is only gonna, we don't have any more room to expand. Literally.
So,
Yeah, so at that point, us being at 99 or any school being at 99 for that matter, like for that fact, isn't fair to any of the schools.
so this is great. We love this. And you guys gave us enough time to get the TV figured out, so this is all good. All right, so go ahead. So if you're wondering if your vote was counted, on the back of your device there's a little sticker that's got your numbers. We're waiting on 1, 2, 5, and 7. So again, this is I'm ready to vote on options at the public information session. A is yes, B is no. And you can change it. So if you change your mind on stuff, you can keep going until we close it. If the middle button that's got the fire doesn't actually do anything, unfortunately. It looks fun, but.
Oh, A is saying ready.
Yep. So A is you're ready to vote tonight. Or B, if you really want to come back in 2 weeks to do this again. All right, we got everybody. All right, we got everybody. And let's do the results. All right, so everyone's good for tonight. And now let's go to our first up-down vote. So this was our first nominee, 2A1. So take this to the public information session. Again, this isn't that you like this one the best or this one you want to recommend to the committee. This is just one that you think deserves to be taken to the public to get some feedback from them to see what merit there may be in this one. All right, waiting on 5. There we go. Everyone good? Anyone want to change their mind? All right. 50-50. All right, so I think we'll give the tie to the runner on that one. And then it was 50-50. So the option 2A1. All right, and then option 1 with variations of 108, 109, 110, and 11 to Oliver Beach. Very good. Okay, we're just waiting on voter 1. Perfect. All right, so we'll have 2 to take there. And let's come back here. Okay, so we don't need another meeting in 2 weeks. We'll just see you guys again at the public information session. Just a couple of words for you guys on this. So the meeting for that one will start at 7 for the public to come. We'd ask you guys to get here a little bit before then so we can give you a little bit of briefing on this. Yeah, it'll be here in this cafeteria. We'll set up probably a couple of stations with these 2 options. And why don't we go ahead and name those real quick, Chris? So we want to make one. What do we did A's and B's now because we did 1s and 2s.
Here's my marker here.
So we'll go ahead and just make 1A and 1B.
So just for the public's consumption, now is a great time to rename these a little bit more simply. So draft option 1 with its modifications will become option A, and draft option 2A1 will become option B.
All right. So
And that's how we'll name them in the public information session. So there's a little bit easier for the public to consume as they're going to be coming into this rather quickly.
All right. And so how that meeting's going to work is we'll let everyone here. We'll have a brief presentation, explain the good work you guys have been doing, explain these 2 options for their consumption, and then we'll most of the evening will be devoted for them to be able to talk directly with you guys about the work you've done. They can ask you any questions. It's not really so much about trying to pitch anybody on anything or trying to convince anybody on anything. You're just trying to more kind of get a feel for kind of what concerns they have, what things they're excited about. What we really want to do is push people towards the survey that'll be available during that time as well. So we'll have a survey that'll ask them some very simple questions. Do you like this option? Why or why not? Any other comments you have about that? And like Melissa said, that'll be helpful for you to be able to get some feedback as far as do we miss something as we're doing this? And that's really what we want to get from that. Yeah.
That's right. So my only question is, will we have that information available to us at the next meeting, or is that something that we have to go on there and search ourselves?
Okay, what's that you're talking about?
The survey, or not the surveys, I'm sorry, the information that they're sending in. So any comments, any of that, do we have to do it independently?
Good. So the comment form, we post those to the website. So those are the ones you'll get there. The survey will actually provide you guys a report before the next meeting that'll have both all the quantitative information. This is the percentage, and what we break it down by school communities. What you can say, so Oliver Beach, Seneca, Chase, like this one, this way, and then we'll also have the written comments from that anyone has. We'll have all be in that, but any of the ones that use for just the general online form is on the website.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a lot of comments to read through.
Yeah. So
We try to get an email from.
Yeah, so I'll send that out to you ahead of time so you guys can have a chance to absorb that a bit and see if we need to do anything else from that. I'll just say this, it can seem kind of scary. We're going to have all these people come ask me about all this stuff. Honestly, in my experience, it's been really, this format for this public information session works really well. it's amazing what having that face-to-face, one-on-one type conversation does to diffuse a lot of anxiousness that people have, and just to be able to talk to a normal person, because you guys are just, you volunteered to do this, but you're just, a parent or a teacher or a principal. You're not out on a crusade for anything, right? And so it works out pretty well, and so we look forward to seeing you guys there. So we won't see you. We had a couple meetings here quickly. We won't see you again for a month, and then after that, we'll have about another month after that. So we kind of hit you pretty heavy here at the beginning, and we kind of tail off as we go through this. So again, just in closing, you got two options here that have some good merit on both of them. The goal is just to kind of have people say what they like, not necessarily what they don't like. And so if you don't need to feel like you got to stand in front of any arrows or anything. Just say, is there any of these that you can support? And if you can't support either of these, what can we change to make it so you could support this? So again, we take these public information sessions, we get feedback. Hey, we love this except for this one thing. Then we can come back and we can address that, or the couple of things, whatever the thing is. So this is still very much in the middle of the process. So please, treat it as such, and we look forward to seeing you. Anything before we let you guys go?
Clear for everyone for the schedule, because the committee accomplished all its work tonight. Meeting 3 on October 8th, it will not be necessary and will not be held, and we will see everyone on October 22nd for the public information session.
All right, thank you, everybody.